Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of the witnesses here today. This really, truly, Chairman, is one of the most exciting panels that I've seen so far. This is really great and a wonderful topic for the folks in the Midwest that actually do grow corn. I want to echo sentiments about the DDGs, the distillers' grains that are used as feedstock. Those that know ethanol production know that very little is wasted from that original kernel of corn when it enters into that plant. It is all used for the benefit of our livestock and our growers. So removing this unnecessary impediment for retailers and consumers alike is a crucial step towards expanded acceptance of biofuels nationwide and will help pave the way for advanced biofuels. I would like to enter for the record 2 letters from different groups expressing their support for this legislation, along with a survey conducted earlier this month of small engine machine owners.
Without objection.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate it. And it has been an interesting discussion because a lot of what I've heard today is talking about misfueling. And Mr. Lorenz, you brought up a great point. Most folks know what product to use. I'm a motorcyclist. I know exactly what I can put into my motorcycle and what I can't. Mr. Teske, you had mentioned misfueling with small engines. Does Briggs & Stratton offer a 2-cycle oil gasoline engine, small engine? You do not?
We do not.
Okay. Do you know of other manufacturers that might?
Yes.
And do you think those consumers can adequately blend that oil and fuel together to properly run their small engines?
Yes, but manufacturers have also taken to doing it for them. And so there's opportunities where, because there have been failures, I know of lots of failures where people have not properly blended, and ultimately there's been a market now for premixed fuel along the way too, and that market wouldn't exist if everyone knew how to blend.
Do you think that there are consumers at the gas pump or pulling into a station that might fuel their vehicles with diesel when those engines aren't diesel engines?
I don't believe so, no. Not that I'm aware of.
You don't believe so, but we heard other testimony where, oh, there's lots of misfueling out there. Even if there are barriers provided, other people will try and fuel their cars with the wrong products. To me, that is not trusting the consumer to know their products and what to use in their own vehicles. I think there is a level of trust. Mr. Lorenz, you said you don't see those misfuels. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. We just, like I said, 2 years selling E15, and we have had no incidents of misfueling or problems with vehicles.
And Mr. Teske?
Senator, if I may, it's generally not the convenience store owner that's going to hear about it. It's going to be us, and specifically through retailers. And so when we've talked to a number of our retailers, fuel-related issues are becoming more prevalent. Mm-hmm. And
I would
so
say
up to 40% of the returns at a major retailer has to do with fuel-related type issues, and it's just very frustrating because they've identified that a lot of it has to do with ethanol. They put out a promotional campaign that said, ditch the ethanol, which we're not advocating to ditch the ethanol.
Which certainly, I hope you don't.
But they did, and ultimately were threatened by a number of different constituents because ultimately ethanol is a problem in small engines. So we warrant up to E10.
Okay, and understand, I do use small engines. I am a motorcyclist, so I do understand, and I hope that most consumers understand the products that they use. But there is an argument here that consumers don't understand what product is right for their small engines or even for their vehicles, and I think that's a bad argument, that we should discontinue the use of a product simply because consumers don't know what is the recommended product for their own particular engine. So I think we need to trust our consumers. I'd like to go back to Mr. Lorenz, and you have E15 products that are offered at your convenience stores. And what were the barriers to entry for selling that E15?
Actually, one of the barriers was this very issue. This was a concern of ours. We still made the business decision to go ahead because we thought that this product was compelling enough of a value proposition to the consumer, and that this, though, is a severe barrier to actually offering this. Worse than actually what we expected. because we knew this was going to be a problem going in, but what we found is it's really tended to undermine the integrity of the product during the summertime, because relabeling, the consumer really doesn't know what's going on. That doesn't happen with any other fuel, and it's extremely detrimental.
Again, I think if it's an okay product to sell any other time during the year and limiting that opportunity during the summer, again, goes back to availability of a product that is approved for sale, but also trusting the consumer and the consumer knowing what is the right product or the best product for them to choose. I think that is somewhat of the underlying issue that we're seeing today. So I do thank you. I am out of time, but I want to thank you, Mr. Chair. This has been a great discussion.
Thank you.